Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It's Coffee Ann here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us on Tuesday morning. It's May 16th. In the year 2023. My name's Joe Callahan. Thanks for joining us at the Coffee Ann table with myself. Dave Richards is here. Good morning to you, Dave.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. A lovely day.
Linda Tebow could not be here today. She's feeling a little under the weather. We hope Linda can be back next week. Ed Carew from the Carew Investment Group is here. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Dave, we were just talking about that last story about a woman in Florida who was sentenced to 30 years in prison because she left her child in the back seat of her hot truck for hours. And we were just telling Ed that my car actually warns me now. When you shut the car off, check the back seat for people. Or I forget what it actually says, but something along the lines of check the back seat. And Ed was saying that his car, if he puts something of any significant weight back there, it tells him to, hey, you have something back here. Don't forget to bring it in. Yeah. So they're trying to get away from deaths in cars. So it's nice that the cars that offer that safety feature. I like it. All right, Ed, it's time for your first message from the Carew Investment Group.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Good morning, everyone. Ed Carew here of the Carew Investment Group at 68 Cumberland Street in Woonsocket. Our telephone number is 765-8880. And if you're looking for an investment firm that puts you first and works hard on your behalf, I'd like you to consider us. We're right here in Woonsocket, and we've been in business since 1987. So you don't have to go out of town for an experienced advisor or work with an advisor based in New York or Boston or who knows where, somebody you're probably never going to meet. And we encourage our clients to come to the office and sit down with us as often as they like. Why? Because we like to do business the old-fashioned way. We want to get to know you on a more personal basis so that we're more attuned to your financial needs. So if you're interested in speaking with us for a free no-obligation consultation and find out more about how we'll invest your money, you can call me or Paul at 765-8880. Securities are offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC, and advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
All right, Ed. Debt ceiling. What do you know? What's new? What's happening? Anything.
Debt ceiling?
Yeah.
Getting closer to the ceiling, huh?
We're getting closer to the deadline, aren't we?
We're getting closer to the potential default, which will probably not happen anyway. It never does.
Okay.
Yeah.
When's it? It's next week?
Well, I don't know. Janet Yellen is saying June 1st.
Okay. 2 weeks.
Yeah, first of all, I don't believe it, and I don't think that's the right date.
What is the right date?
I don't know what the right date
okay.
is, but it was that it should be the end of June or sometime in July, and then all of a sudden she flipped
it just
and said June 1st.
Well,
really?
I smell a rat here.
Yeah, me too.
Because, I mean,
it's Janet Yellen?
You take a look and you see what the national news organizations are doing. Somebody's pulling a string somewhere. Somebody's trying to ratchet up the pressure. Somebody's trying to put some unnatural emotion into this whole debate. And that's the reason why we're the rest of the American public, we're just a bunch of pawns, and they say, well, geez, you got to care about this. You got to call your senator. You got to call your congressperson, and you got to tell them to do what we want them to do, and all the rest of that. Because I'm saying, you can't get people motivated to do something unless you make it important to them, and the only way you can do that these days is by crafting boogeyman stories.
Yeah, but what bothers me this time compared to when Donald Trump was president, they went through the same thing then also.
Yeah.
But the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, he wasn't trying to fan the flames and get everybody all excited and everything. He would come out and say, we're going to do everything that we possibly can so that everybody can get paid, and we're working on this and working on that. And he actually met with Nancy Pelosi,
Right.
and they eventually came up with a plan that they were able to present and get passed before Congress and for Trump to sign. But you're not getting that from the same position, Treasury Secretary.
There's a different group of people in power
Well, yeah, but
now.
she's like doing the bidding of the administration, not trying to calm the fears of the marketplace and the people. Seems like she's trying to get everybody all riled up, and like you said,
Boogeyman stories.
it's like the edge of the cliff is right here. Watch out, we're gonna go over. Now, it's not untrue, but it's not helpful.
Right.
Well, you think the administration would have a better relationship with the? Oh no, the speaker's a Republican now, right?
Speaker of the House is a Republican.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
okay. So maybe they don't have the same kind of back and forth that the Mnuchin and
Well, back
Pelosi
then
did.
it was Trump was president and Nancy Pelosi was Democrat.
Well, right. So
you know,
so why isn't it working out better?
Well, Democrats and Republicans in this particular social cycle have different modus operandis. It would appear from this observer that more Democrats are more interested in total win, total victory, and smote your opponent, where
Rather than
Republicans
compromise.
were just interested in getting their way.
Yeah.
And so, you have obstinate people on both sides, but the way I see it is that the Democrats as a group right now, and not all Democrats, but the Democrats as a group right now have a reputation of much more emotional fighting than reserved, calculated fighting to try to get your way. Did I get that? Do you think I'm full of baloney on that there, Ed?
No.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say who's wrong
I
and
think
who's
both
right.
sides
I'm
are
just saying that
pretty-
they have different ways of fighting.
Yeah, I think both sides are pretty obstinate or set
Right,
in their ways.
yeah.
But when you say I'm not going to negotiate, which is President Biden's
There you
position.
go. That's what I'm
That's
saying.
wrong.
We're waiting for you guys, for the Republicans, to present a bill.
Yeah.
They presented a bill. They passed a debt thing, a couple weeks ago.
Right, sure.
The Republicans did in the House. And they presented it, and he said, well, I ain't talking to you about that.
But it was-
I want a clean bill. I want a clean debt bill.
I want a bill that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
either
let's
do
get
things
together
my
and talk
way
about
or-
it so that we can get a bill that you like. Okay. Now, what we're going to end up with is a bill that nobody likes. So it's going to be a good bill.
There you go. No,
You know?
you're right
Yeah.
about that. I
If
know where you're
nobody's
coming from
completely
on that.
happy with it,
Yeah.
it's going to be a
In
good
compromise,
bill.
both sides are a little unhappy.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now today, retailers are going to be announcing their sales
Yes.
for last month, or is it last quarter?
Quarter.
Last quarter. Okay. Do you see any surprises coming up?
Well, Home Depot released their earnings this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Their profit per share was better than normal, better than expected, and their revenues were crappy.
Really?
Worst revenue miss in 20 years
For Home Depot?
for Home Depot. Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's going to be a whole bunch of them this week, and
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting
So
to see.
can you
Okay.
balance the books
Wow.
with a Hallmark holiday?
Say what?
Well, Lowe's, Home Depot, these big box stores, it was the Spring Black Friday. Is that what they called it?
Yes. Yeah. That lasted a month.
They didn't even lasted a month. They didn't even tell you what day it was supposed to have been.
That's 'cause it
It's
lasted a
not
month.
marked on anybody's calendar, but they decided it was going to be Spring Black Friday. And I said, well, that's very interesting, but that's what they did. And so when you were just about to mention, as you were preparing to mention, Ed, about their report, I was saying to myself, well, this is really going to tell whether or not Spring Black Friday means anything to the average person.
I guess it doesn't.
Well, what Home Depot said is that big ticket items are not selling as well as expected.
Okay.
Meaning patio sets, for the spring and the summer. Barbecue grills. I'm not talking about the $150 one. I'm talking
No, the
about
bigger
the
ones.
$600 and higher Weber's and things like that.
So like lawnmowers and tractors.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of big ticket item that isn't selling.
And do you know
Okay.
what that tells me, Ed? And you may disagree with me, but my reaction when I hear you say that is, well, that just goes to show you we're already in the recession that the government will not acknowledge.
Possibly, I
When
guess.
people stop buying big ticket items, it is the beginning of the tightening of money to the point where people aren't going to spend it on big
People
items.
are spending money on experiences and not items.
Let's take a trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
going on trips. Go to a restaurant. You're lucky to get in. You know, restaurants are mobbed just about everywhere. So people are spending money on experiences. You know, not things. During the COVID, they were spending money on things because they couldn't go anywhere. So it's flipped itself around.
Right.
You know, now are we in a recession or not? I don't know. And it's smarter people than me have to decide that. You know, the technical
But the
definition
people who
of
make the
recession.
definitions, who make the rules, are saying, gee whiz, the definition that I messed around with, the one that I recognize, no, we're not in a recession. And I don't think it's going to be tomorrow or even next month before anybody who's truthful with you in the government is going to acknowledge the fact that we're in a recession. But I just see us going into the jaws right now.
Well, the problem with the technical definition of a recession is 2 negative quarters of declining growth. Well, that means you're going to be 6 months into the recession by the time you know you're in a
Before
recession.
you know it, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, Ed.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure that they're using the right criteria. But it's hard
That's
to
exactly
say that
what
we're
I
in
was
a
saying.
recession.
Their definition is bogus.
Yeah. It's
Or,
hard to say
let
that
me
you're
put it this way: it's unhelpful.
You know, I think I used that word earlier.
Yeah. Instead of saying bogus, it's
It was a good
unhelpful.
word. A good word.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that you're in a recession. You can see all these signs of what would be in a recession or what encompasses a recession, but you got a 3.4% unemployment rate.
No, you don't.
Well,
That's
Well,
been a
technic-
lie for 20 years now.
well, maybe, but that's
what
the number
that's
that's
what it is.
reported.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you know, that number doesn't fit recession.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's
If it
my
said
entire point.
5.4%,
When you're the one that
yes.
makes the definitions, you can define whatever you want or
Mm-hmm.
game the definition so that it meets your satisfaction, regardless of reality. But there's very few people out there that you can walk into that do not agree with you, including people in government that don't agree with you that the unemployment figures are largely fantasy. They're fabricated. They're gamed. There's far more people not working or not working enough or out of work than is reported because of the way that they come up with their figures. And even government people now admit it.
All right.
But the state government people tell you we have to do it this way because that's how the feds tell us to do it. Because the president wants to announce a lower figure.
Low
So if they're
unemployment.
using that figure to decide whether or not you're in some sort of a financial calamity, you're never going to be told the truth. It's the king's new clothes.
Well, the unemployment rate is, I question it myself because there are a lot of people getting laid off. Companies are closing down.
by
Bed
the
Bath and Beyond
thousands.
closed down. Christmas tree shops are bankrupt.
Did they file bankruptcy?
Yeah, they filed bankruptcy
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. That,
By the thousands, and yet it continues to go down by tenths. This is not right.
All right. Also, China is also going to release their industrial production and retail sales this week as well. But Ed, can you believe what information we get out of
You've
China?
never been able to believe what China says.
Okay, so why do we care what they say?
24-hour news networks.
You gotta, you gotta report something. No, it's. I mean, we know China's economic condition to a certain degree because they buy a lot of stuff from the United States. But if they say their growth rate is 8 and 9%, like they've been reporting a lot over the last few years,
Yeah.
maybe
can't-
it's 4%
Yeah.
or 3% or whatever. I mean, you're not going to
It's
know
still
for
not
sure.
hay.
It's well, watch out with hay.
Oh, sorry.
Amigo likes
Amigo
hay.
like say.
Yeah. I don't believe that their reporting is accurate, or is true. Let's put it that way. It's probably accurate lie.
An accurate lie. There you go. Is that an oxymoron?
I don't know.
An
That would be a
an
jumbo
accurate-
shrimp, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be. And military intelligence.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
my,
yeah.
my
Yeah,
favorites. All right. We got to take a break here in the Coffee and program. That went along. That went very quickly right there. But Ed's time for a second message from the Carew Investment Group.
Okay, thanks again, Joe. Good morning again, everyone. Ed Carew here of the Carew Investment Group. Integrity, trust, service. Those are three words that sum up what you can expect from the Carew Investment Group at 68 Cumberland Street in Woonsocket. Established in 1987, we've been helping local investors to build wealth and guide them through their golden years of retirement using quality stocks of companies that you know, many of which pay quarterly dividends. We also use investment-grade bonds and low-cost exchange-traded funds. To find out more about our services and for a quality conservative approach to investing, give us a call at 765-8880. Integrity, trust, and service, the Carew Investment Group. Securities are offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC, and advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
All right, Ed, thanks. And the Coffee and program will continue. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240. We have a note to get to when we come back here on the Coffee and program.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON, AM, and FM.
It's Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Ed Carew. Nice to have you along with us. And we do have a note to get to, 766-1240 if you'd like to call one in. And on a completely different topic, on to
And now for something completely
different. Marijuana breathalyzers. Now, THC, the major psychoactive component to marijuana, is banned in only 3 states. Colorado, the highest and the first. Cut to the chase, there was an increase in incidents in people impaired due to THC while driving, leading to a number of traffic fatalities. Researchers in the state, quote, "It's a big problem, and we've seen that growing nationwide." And we can bring this up with
That's
Chief Oates.
deflection, isn't it?
Chief Oates on
They were one of the
Thursday.
first states
Yeah.
to encourage recreational marijuana use
Yeah.
by their citizens. And, well, it's a big number,
No,
and
it's a
we're
big
having
problem.
problems, but it's nationwide. It's not just here.
People are legally using the product, but they don't know their own impairment levels.
Did you say that there is a marijuana breathalyzer test?
Well, no, that's what they put in the subject line. That this was actually emailed to me. It just says marijuana breathalyzer. There isn't one.
No.
Right.
As far as I
Otherwise,
know.
they'd be mandating them in vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Them, it would be you got to have a breathalyzer because what they really want, what some people really want, is to have the alcohol breathalyzer and the marijuana breathalyzer in every car all the time.
I
Can't
thought-
start your car without it.
I thought they had passed a law,
That
or
and
at least
AM radios.
proposed a law that by 2025, the law would take effect that there would be a breathalyzer in the car, and you would not be able to start the vehicle. And I don't know if that. Thought that I read that passed, but I could be wrong.
Well, I'm sure that, I've heard that that's on the agenda of certain groups, that they want that there all the time.
Yeah, and as far as AM radios, I read that about a year ago. Most electric vehicles don't come with AM radio because it interferes with the electronics or something. I don't know. But that's what they were saying.
How much do the electric cars cost on average? Pick a number. You've seen them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
30K?
Yeah. Oh,
30,
that's
30,
a very
way-
small.
that's very-
That's
yeah,
low?
It's low, yeah.
Okay,
very low, yeah.
45K.
Even that
That's
is
low?
like, that's
Right.
level entry.
It costs
Okay.
$120 of technology to stop the electric motors from interfering with the AM radio. But they ain't going to put it in, kicking and screaming. And you know what it is? It's the Ford study. The Ford study is the one that says, we have been watching all of our car owners that buy cars from us that have the internet radios, and they're all using internet radios because we track them through the internet. And like nobody is ever turning on an AM radio because they got the internet radio. And so you don't need AM radios anymore, even though Ford can't figure out why 98 million people still listen to AM radios. Not on Fords, that's for sure. And that's not true. I mean, they're gaming that survey, and they're just justifying what they want to do. Okay, fine. But, Congress critters are now getting excited because they want something to do about it. Now, see, the latest thing from Congress is that they're saying, FEMA, hey, FEMA, you want some money from Congress? You go out and fight the car manufacturers. They want the Federal Emergency Management Agency to lead the fight of keeping the radios in the cars.
Why them?
Well, because they're in charge of the emergency action notification system.
Okay.
The
kind of-
beep
Yeah.
and the rest of that stuff. So you go out and do it.
You figure it out.
Right. Well, they're just trying to get this thing off their backs because everyone's complaining. Not everyone, but I mean, there's a significant, what do they call it, critical mass of complaints out there. And so they have to delegate it to somebody to go out and fight the thing. And
Well, this message I got about the marijuana situation, I'm going to save it. Chief Oates will be here on Thursday, and I'll ask him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
What has he heard? I know I've talked to him in the past about it, and he's talked to his colleagues out in Colorado, and yeah, it's a real issue. The police out there just don't know what to do, and
It's been a
impairments
real issue in
are
California, too.
up very high, and we'll see if there's anything coming along the ways. Are they working on a breathalyzer for marijuana detection? Maybe some company is working on that, and we'll see if there's anything that's coming down the pike. All right. In other news, here in the city of Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt submitted her 2024 budget, and she says there's no increases to property tax rates. That must make people happy to hear that. Does it make you happy, Dave?
Well, I think that that's something that's on her agenda, and she wants to do it, and she wants to hold the tax revenues. And a lot of politically elected leaders have those goals because, they play well at re-election time, and that's important. And it is important. I'm not being cynical about it. And also, it's a nice thing to do for your people when you can swing it. I look at it and I say to myself, well, what is not in the message is some other things that raise revenue in the tax department that she's not saying she's holding the mark on. And when she comes the next time, we may be able to get a chance to engage her in conversation about that.
Well, she says they had to make tough choices, cutting back on requested departmental expenditures and projects, but doesn't get specific.
That's just not giving blank checks to your departments, and that's good fiscal management.
All right.
But what are they not saying? She's not saying your tax bills are going to go down. She's saying that, well, we have arranged it so that many times you're going to pay the same as you did last year. And that's a good step. That's a good step, and I'm really in favor of all that. But I see, from my point of view, other matters of taxation that weren't addressed in that message, and I want to see how she's going to address them.
All right. In other news, take a look at the front page of today's call. Looks like there was an alleged assault that took place at World War II Park. An alleged sexual assault that took place.
This is a sick story. My goodness.
A man from Pawtucket
Took
name
his
of
electric
Peter
bike
Rossi
up to Woonsocket.
drives up to Woonsocket on his. I wonder how long it took him to get here.
I don't know.
And meets a homeless woman in the park.
Who lives in the park with her
two daughters
14-year-old daughter, and it
and
says their
two-year-old daughter.
2-year-old daughter.
Yep. And they talk, and he buys her some food.
right.
So, okay. And then what's odd is she decides to lay down in the grass
And take a
and
nap
take a nap,
in the afternoon.
like 5 in the afternoon.
Right. And he lays down and starts making his moves on her.
Yeah. And then some
Another
other person starts
patron
yelling.
in the park looks and sees this and starts screaming blue bloody murder.
So she wakes up, the victim, sees what's going on.
Right. And this other person who observes this going on is the one that calls the cops.
Yeah. And the woman said, "Yeah, I want to press charges." And so she declined medical attention. The victim says,
Right.
and just said, "Yeah, so he was arrested, and he'll be in court soon." So it's a really bizarre story.
Yeah, I mean that's World War II Park, and that park is very, very close to my heart. And to think that kind of stuff is going to go on in broad daylight, yeah, boy, that's a problem. That I don't think anyone will agree is something that shouldn't be taken seriously.
Absolutely. Now, Ed, have you heard about this guy down in Massachusetts, down in the Cape, a dentist down in the Cape? He's been charged, or was he? No, this was proven. And he got how many years? He's getting 2 years in prison. Massachusetts dentist embezzled, and I wouldn't think it's a big story, but it's the amount of money that he embezzled from his employer, $1.2 million.
Whoa.
That's a lot of money.
Yikes.
And fraudulently obtained an additional $50,000 in pandemic relief funding, and he was sentenced Monday to 2 years.
He's working for another dentist?
And
he's able to do that?
He's a dentist under an umbrella.
Umbrella organization.
Yes.
Okay.
So his name is Jack Masarski, 65, embezzled from his Cape Cod-based employer between 2015 and 2021. Wow, he's been doing it for 6 years. So what he was doing, he was intercepting the insurance reimbursement checks that was mailed to the practice, and then he was depositing them into a secret bank account he opened in the practice's name. All right? And he used the money for personal and family expenses, and he also submitted a fraudulent application to the Federal Health Resources and Services Administration Provider Relief Fund in the name of the practice in 2020, and was given more than $52,000 in pandemic relief funds that were intended to provide economic assistance to qualifying healthcare providers. The money was also deposited into the secret bank account. He also, besides the prison time, he's also getting 3 years probation. He has to pay restitution prior to sentencing, and he pled guilty in January to mail fraud and wire fraud. Did you hear about this guy?
No, I didn't. But
Okay.
What's coming up in my mind is, $1.2 million. It's not peanuts.
It's over 6 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't a mistake.
Oh no!
No.
My what's going through my mind is what did this umbrella corporation that owns the business, the dental business, how did they balance their books?
I don't know.
Did this guy go in there and also write down that these bills were paid? And if they were paid,
He
where
must
did
have.
that money? Why did that money not show up? Or is there nobody at the corporation, the umbrella corporation that's paying attention?
I don't know.
It's
Maybe
just-
they are,
it's
and they
just
say
crazy.
you go to the police and say, okay, we start the investigation, and we'll see how long this goes as we put our case together. But
Well,
yeah,
I guess they must have found him because it said he embezzled, so that means
Yes.
that they must have taken note of it.
I'm just the amount of money is just is what gets me.
Yeah, it's pretty staggering.
It's pretty high.
$1,000 a year.
Yeah, and
Not bad for a part-time job.
Right.
and that's bad enough. But stealing the pandemic money too is that's pretty low.
Yeah, but there's ads that I hear on the radio about these companies that, they call us and we'll
Help you?
Yeah, we have our team of lawyers and accountants that can go through your books and see if you qualify for $26,000 per employee. It's tax-free. It's this,
Yeah.
it's that. Even if you think you don't qualify.
Call us anyway.
Yeah.
$26,000 per employee.
Yeah.
Makes you
I
question.
get them all
huh?
the time.
Yeah. And it's all...
I get them all the time, and a friend of mine who owns a radio station down in the mid-Atlantic states was dealing with one of these people, had to be in early 22. And says, this is great, you give him he's going to do this, and blah, blah, blah. And so introduced me to him. I started talking to the guy. I'm a little standoffish and stuff. I give him some round numbers without letting him look into the books of the company. And, yeah. So I went over to my accountant, because it was at that time of the year I was normally conversing with my accountant on normal tax business. And I said, this is the situation here. He says, well, why don't you let me take a look at it? And he did take a look at it. And $2,000 worth of his services later, he says, no, he says, it's a scam. You don't qualify for this. I said, but this guy is doing this for a friend of mine. I said, well, you can get the application in. You can get the check. He says, but then someone's going to audit you, and you're going to have to give the money back. And I says, no.
Wow.
That's not what you want.
Yeah.
And so he says, yeah, my advice is just to reject all these things, because you're not in a situation where you qualify. He says, the problem is that you stayed on the air. If you'd have gone off the air for lack of help, if you had been, driven off for one reason or another, you couldn't run your programs. I said, but do you have any idea what it took me to keep the programs on the air? He says that we would just, there wasn't a single other person who walked into this building from, March 20th all the way till, June 17th or something like that? I said, and Denise and I did everything with our friends who we gave sports packages to, so you could report in from home and stuff like that, but we still had to run the board for you. I said, what it took is just absolutely inhumane to keep things running, and we did it because it was the right thing to do. I said, well, right thing to do, you don't get the money.
It's not the right thing. Gee, that's too bad. All right.
Grow up and be unhappy.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and Program. Time for a look at the weather forecast being brought to you by the state of Connecticut.
The National Weather Service has issued a fire weather watch, hazardous weather outlook, and red flag warning for today between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Partly sunny skies, then gradually becoming fully sunny with a high of 79 degrees of wind from the west up to 30 miles per hour. Tonight, a slight chance of showers between 4 and 5 a.m., mostly cloudy all night, 47 degrees. That chance of showers is only 20%. Wednesday's weather sunny with a high of 62. Thursday, sunshine and 66. Friday, sunshine and 69. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a high of 68. Sunday, a 50% chance of a shower, mostly cloudy and 71. And next Monday, partly sunny, 71.
Currently outside the Navigate Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street with the cloudy skies, we have 65 degrees. The state of Connecticut is hiring for health care and direct support. If you've got the heart, they have a job for you. Visit ct.gov/CT State Jobs. That's ct.gov/CT State Jobs for more information.
Hi, I'm Kathleen LaValle at The Honey Shop. Check out our Facebook page at The Honey Shop RI, and there you'll see a whole list of our new classes and lots of fun things to do. You could join us for making limoncello, pizzas, pasta making, cheese making, so many fun things to do and learn.
Thanks, Kathy. Folks, if you love food, you'll love the Honey Shop, right behind the Dunkin' Donuts at Park Square in Woonsocket.
Dealing with insurance claims on your own can be a frustrating experience. Have you been struggling to get the compensation you deserve after a disaster strikes? Look no further than Vern Rainville, Public Insurance Adjuster. Vern Rainville works for you, the insured, not the insurance company. He knows the ins and outs of the claims process. He's helped countless homeowners and business owners get the maximum compensation they're entitled to. Don't let the insurance company take advantage of you. Let Vern Rainville fight for your rights and make sure you get the settlement you deserve. Contact Vern Rainville. He's in Manville today at 1-484-300-8495, 484-300-8495. Hi, this is Joe Callahan, your maitre d' inside the Tiki Bar, heard Monday nights at 6 on ON Radio. It's 1 full hour of Jimmy Buffett music. The Tiki Bar is brought to you by Attorney Bob Lauder, the Carew Investment Group, Pep and Lumber, and Family Discount Furniture. It is Coffee and here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here, along with Ed Carew. Dave Richards is here. Linda Tebow could not be with us this week. Not feeling too good, and we hope Linda gets better soon and will be joining us next week as well. Well, something must be in the water, Ed, here in Rhode Island, because yesterday we had a story about a Burrillville town councilor that was pulled over and arrested, charged with DUI. All right.
Yeah.
And now we have a Cranston city councilor. He's facing drug possession charges. His name is Matthew Riley. He was on Pontiac Avenue in Cranston. He was flagged down to assist Riley in a parked car on Monday. The officer reportedly found a pipe and a substance that tested positive for crack cocaine and fentanyl. Riley was released on bond. He's got a hearing scheduled for June 15th. Cranston City Council President Jessica Marino, yes, called the charge, quote, very concerning and disappointing. That's a quote. But she's looking towards the judicial process to determine innocence or guilt. So yes, you are innocent until proven guilty. But
Mustn't be just
sad.
in Rhode Island water. Charlie Baker's son was
I was bringing up Charlie
arraigned
Baker in a little
yesterday
bit.
For, okay, well then I'll stop. I'll wait for you.
Stop right there. We're gonna get to in just a second.
Wait for
But
you
yeah,
to catch up to me.
well he's yeah, that's right. So yeah, we had the town councilor in Burrillville, Dave, with the drunk driving charge.
Yeah.
Now we get the Cranston city councilor
Yeah, I
with
know.
the drug charge. So
Well-
like
Joe, it just, at the founding of this country, the representative city, the representative form of government is that each community or portion of a community will elect one among themselves to go down and do this work and represent them, and that's what city councilors are. They're being elected by the entire community to go and sit on that board and do the work. And of course, they're just humans like the rest of us. They've got their problems. They make their mistakes like everybody else. They have family members that make mistakes, blah, blah. And so they're under additional scrutiny because they were the selected ones.
right.
And the same thing now with the governor's son. I mean, the governor didn't get charged with DUI,
No.
all right? Now you have a son, and the son could be troubled, could be going through a bad patch. Obviously, is a totally different person because that son wasn't elected governor.
Nope.
So there,
And Andrew Baker was he did plead not guilty
right?
to the charge of operating under the influence.
Then he feels he has some sort of explanation or argument.
And well, maybe. Well, it's probably what his lawyer said. Well, plead not guilty, and then we'll work on it and see if we can get the charge to be a lesser charge.
Well, whatever the reason,
Yep.
he's
Now
gotta-
his license has been suspended for 30 days because of the arrest.
that can be done.
Yep. And the judge said he will remain free without bail while he awaits trial. Does not say when his trial will begin. Have you heard, Ed, when
No.
his trial? Probably sometime this summer.
Well, it's
so.
a sad thing. Every family
Yeah.
has their problems. And you just, what are you going to do? People are humans.
Nice story on the front page of today's call. The Museum of Work and Culture received a check for $2,000 from which is a legislative grant. And there's a picture of Melissa Murray and Roger Pickard handing over the money to Ann Conway at the museum, and this is allowing about 450 students to be able to tour the museum over the course of the next 2 months.
Right.
Participate in
Pays the
educational
admission,
activity at no charge to their school. So good all the way around.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That they get to do this. So this is fantastic. And let's see, Ed.
Yes.
There's another story on the front page of today's call, and I need your opinion on this because you and your wife like to eat out a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about? Do you go to places? I should ask this first. Do you go to places where the restaurants allow animals, mostly dogs, into their establishments?
It's funny you say that.
Thanks.
2 weeks ago, we go to Stone Forge every week, usually every Saturday night.
You're the regulars there.
yeah, we got our own seats. You know? A
Have
guy,
they engraved the chairs yet?
no, they didn't even put a plaque on it or anything.
No.
You know, There was somebody that came in, two guys came in right at the same time as we did, and one of them did have a dog.
On a leash?
A rather, no, on a leash,
Okay.
a rather large, rather big dog. It wasn't like a little,
Pomeranian or something.
Yeah,
like that.
right,
Okay.
right. No, it was a regular, good-sized dog, and they walked in and they sat at the bar. Mm-hmm. Not far
The
from
dog
where-
sat at the bar?
The dog sat on the floor.
Okay. I'm
The dog
sorry.
sat on a. The
He's
dog
not taking a
sat,
stool.
Dog sat on a bar stool,
just
and the
wanna
owner
get a-
sat on the floor.
I wanted to get a clear picture of this.
Well,
Ed,
but
you
maybe
must
by the end of the
understand.
night when they left, they might have all been on the floor. I don't know. but no, yeah. To answer your question, yeah, that's the first time I see it
Okay.
in a restaurant that we go to.
The U.S. government is giving its blessing to restaurants that want to allow pet dogs in their outdoor spaces. Nearly half the states already allow canine dining outdoors. Now, of course, service dogs have always been allowed in restaurants. Were these dogs service dogs, Ed, that you could tell?
I
They
mean, he
would be
didn't have
marked.
any.
The dogs would be marked.
He wasn't.
No markings?
I didn't see any markings on him. Doesn't mean there weren't
Okay.
any. I mean, it's not like bright sunlight in in there,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the evening. So there could have been something on him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But not everybody's happy with it. A food blogger wrote that I'd like to be able to enjoy my meal without having to worry about fleas, pet hair, barking, entitled dogs and their owners. Did these dogs act okay?
This dog was fine.
Just okay. Did they feed the dog?
I did not
not
notice them
see that.
feeding the dog.
Okay, I just wonder if because there's a picture of the front page of today's call, some guy in Maryland,
Yeah.
and there he is feeding his dog. They're sitting outside at some restaurant, but he's feeding
Joe,
his dog from the table.
I think we have to clarify here what you're looking at there. That's at an open air cabana style.
Well, that's right.
Annexed to the restaurant. The dog was not welcomed inside the walls of the restaurant.
No, it's mostly outside.
That's
right.
right. But since it's al fresco dining, and so an exception now there. And this is, of course, again, the camel's nose under the flap of the tent, because once they get into then it's going to be cold outside. So I always bring my dog here, so they're going to want to try to bring him inside. Listen, I'm not old enough to remember when animals would be welcomed inside restaurants. When I was a young boy, I know that it was can't bring the animals inside.
Right.
It's against the health regulations. And so it was always that way. And then I recall my elders also going on further to explain, and you wouldn't want your dog in there anyway, because the dog does not have the refined sensibilities that human beings do. And if you have your dog there, and the dog is smelling food, and the dog gets it in its brain that it's hungry, it's going to come to you for food. If you give it food and it smells something else at the next table, it may go over and
wants their
pester
food.
the other, and you can never pester the other patrons, and that's where you cross the line. And if you can't be sure that your dog won't do it, because the dog's just a dog. He smells food, or she smells food, and so you're not going to be able to stop the dog from doing that. And if you do, you're going to disrupt your dinner, the people across from you's dinner. The dog is going to have to be put out anyway. So cut to the chase. Don't bring the dog inside.
All right, Ed.
Well, this dog was really good.
Well behaved.
And the two guys that came in, they weren't like young guys. I mean, they might have been in their 40s or something. So the impression I got was that it was a service dog. It was well behaved.
All
Once
right.
they sat down, you would have never known there was a dog there. If somebody else walked in later, they wouldn't have known there was a dog there unless they wouldn't step on his tail.
Right.
Right.
So
And
you're okay with,
I
especially
didn't have
if
a
it's
problem
outdoor
it.
with people bringing
It
dogs.
wasn't
to
like
the-
a long-haired dog. It was,
Yeah.
like short-haired dog, and the dog was much more well-behaved than some kids that I've seen in there.
Oh boy.
That's
Good
right.
point. Good
Yeah.
point.
That's another conversation there.
So you must remember that when we were growing up, is that the word from the parents were, you are on a different kind of behavior when you're in a restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And we got a really short leash with a choke collar on it. And if you cannot behave, then we're not going to the restaurant. Mm-hmm. And if you misbehave while you're there, we're leaving.
We're leaving the restaurant,
That's it.
and you don't get your French fries. That's what you really wanted. All right. Before we take a break, just want to mention that former governor of Rhode Island, Gina Raimondo, her mom passed away
Oh,
Josephine Raimondo was 91
She lived in
years
Greenville,
old.
didn't she?
Lived in Greenville, that part of Smithfield.
It's what should say her mother.
Her mother died. She was 91, and Gina Raimondo's dad passed away in 2014. And
but she was still treasurer.
still state treasurer here in Rhode Island. And visiting hours for Josephine Raimondo will be on May 23rd at the Nardalillo Funeral Home, which is in Cranston.
That's next Tuesday.
Thanks, Dave. All right, break time here on the Coffee and Program. More coming up. Stick around. The latest trends in
That's why
kitchen
I'm
and
here,
bath
Joe,
design are
facing the
vivid colors like Viva Magenta being incorporated into cabinets, vanities, and tile. Metallic finishes, especially coppers and rich golds, are good for faucets, sinks, and hardware. Plus, black is always a popular choice for cabinets and wall color.
Hi, this is Kevin Beck from Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center.
Kevin and his team can make your dream kitchen and bath a reality. Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center, McDonald's Plaza, Menden Road, right off Route 295 in Cumberland. Visit CumberlandKitchen.com. Transforming a house into a home at Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center.
Experience Pictures at an Exhibition, a concert by the Rhode Island Wind Ensemble to benefit the glorious St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Sunday, May 21st at 3 p.m. at St. Anne's, 84 Cumberland Street, Woonsocket. Admission is $20 and all proceeds benefit the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Tickets are available at Beela's Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Timeless Antiques, Vos True Value Hardware, or call 401-356-0713. We'll see you there.
Thanks, Dominic. Dominic's going to join us on Coffee In on this Friday morning.
Cool.
To talk more about that concert. So we look forward to having him
By
here.
the way, I'll be absent next Monday.
Thanks, Dave. Let me write that down.
I have
Dave,
to be out of
absolutely.
town next Monday.
Going with Ed to the oral surgeon?
Not on Monday.
Oh, well, all right.
Hold my hand.
All right. Now, speaking about dogs and going to restaurants and like this, here's something you can't do because the cops will never fall for it.
Oh.
All right. This happened in Springfield, Colorado. Colorado man reportedly tried to blame his dog to try to get out of the DUI arrest last weekend. Police in Springfield, Colorado say the man was pulled over for speeding, but as the officer approached his vehicle, the man got out of the passenger side and claimed he wasn't driving. The dog was.
Okay.
Now, was it a Tesla?
Put it on cruise control?
Well, they've got some pretty advanced gizmos in those electric cars. They do.
Nope.
It's not quite driving without a driver, but it is driver-assisted driving, they're calling it. And you can be going down an interstate and you're not doing much driving.
Well, the authorities say the man tried to run away after the officer got up to him and said, "Hey, have you been drinking?" And he tries to make a run for it. And he was caught a short time later and was then arrested. The dog was not arrested, and the dog drove the car home. So everything's all set. So,
In this day of Uber, I just can't imagine, and Lyft, I just can't imagine driving drunk. I can imagine going out with some friends, not planning on drinking. Maybe you had one or two more than you expected, and now, oh my goodness, I've been enjoying myself so much. I've got to get home. I got to go to work in the morning, and there you are with your car. It gets complicated, and you may not be in the frame of mind to be making the smartest decisions you ever did. But if you just pick up your phone and do the, a ride, some sort of a ride share thing, come back and get your car later, whatever, it's the price you pay for a good time in this day and age.
the problem with that, though, Dave, is if you haven't done it in advance and downloaded the Uber or the Lyft app,
You won't be able to do it while you're
while
drunk.
you're drunk, it's going to be a challenge
Okay.
to try and do it. And you can't just have the bartender call Uber for me. There's no phone number to call.
Right, well, here's
You
my
just-
phone.
yeah.
Give me an Uber.
Well, I guess the bartender could download it for you, but then you have to ask the person for their credit card and put all the information in like that, and so it gets
Yeah,
a
right.
little complicated. Not too bad, but
that would be a red light for me.
so. Anyway, and then if you're drunk, you're not thinking clearly. I could drive home. There's nothing wrong with me,
Oh,
kind of
gee.
thing. So anyway,
I
so
don't know. I've done that. Have you ever done that, Ed? No, I didn't like it much. No.
it's not
Drive
answering.
a few feet, pull over. Drive a few feet, pull over.
Well, that's
Oh,
a
listen,
clear sign you're not
I-
you're drunk.
Yeah, I just, there was just one time in my entire life where I shouldn't have been on the road, and I did drive home. But
I think I'll plead the fifth rather
on
than
that
drink the
one?
fifth.
Well, yeah, I get that. But this was more than 50 years ago.
Oh yeah. We've all done.
So I think the
stuff
like
that.
statute of limitations. But no, I had a really good buzz on, and it scared me to pieces to try to drive when I was like that because I knew what the consequences could be, and I kept pulling over and taking a nap,
Really?
and then getting up and trying to go again. I was trying to metabolize on the way home, but still make progress getting home. But boy, there were a couple of times there where I just said, no, pull over, stop. And then I just stopped. And then I got up my courage and I went out again. There's not too many cars around, so I'll go out and try to get a little further down the road. And that was just a buzz. I wasn't falling down drunk or anything, but yeah, that taught me the lesson. That was it.
I think people.
I'll invite the folks over to my house to drink.
I think
and
other
I'm
people.
home.
Other people learn the other lesson if they drive home like that and they make it home and there's no issues. Hey, I can do it.
Oh gosh, I hope no.
And they go,
That's
"I-"
not my personality.
Yeah.
No, I knew I was in trouble.
All right. I saw
Oh,
this.
Elon Musk, by the way, calls the Tesla system autopilot.
Yeah,
You said it-
that's pretty accurate, I suppose, because
Actually,
it's,
government doesn't think it's very, very accurate at all.
Well, that sounds like it'll drive itself.
Yeah.
well, no, even autopilot on an airplane does not drive itself. It
Yeah.
maintains what you have programmed into it.
Yeah, but the people will think, oh, it'll do it all on its own.
Oh no,
Yeah.
you can't land or take off a plane on autopilot. It doesn't work.
Nope. All right. Now I saw this picture this morning. I thought and online, and I thought it was a joke. Now there's someone being funny, taking Martha Stewart's picture and putting it on a model and put it on the Sports Illustrated cover. I said, "Ha ha, that's very funny." Ha ha. Turns out it's true.
What?
It's really her. Martha Stewart is now the oldest Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover model. She's 81. 81-year-old is one of the latest cover stars on
Saying
the.
that Martha Stewart actually got into a swimsuit.
Yes.
This wasn't graphically
no,
enhanced.
it's really her.
I'll
yep.
be a son of a gun.
The lifestyle guru and business maven says to be on the cover at her age was a diet and exercise challenge. Stewart says she hopes this encourages older women to, quote, look good and feel good. Well, all right.
Well, it is just a
Good for her.
swimsuit. It's nothing
Yeah.
more than you'd see at the ocean or something, I'm sure.
Right. But you don't normally see.
But then again, when people
81-year-olds.
get to a certain age, a lot of women will go for the one piece.
It is a one piece she's wearing.
Oh, well,
It
there
is.
you go. I thought it was a bikini you mentioned.
No, I never said that. I just said
Okay.
swimsuit. I wasn't that
Guess
that
I
specific.
wasn't listening really well.
All right, but well, good for her. I'm sure she made some nice coin from Sports Illustrated to be, especially to be on the cover. You make more money if you're on the cover. So that's what I hear anyway. All right, down in New
what he
Jersey,
hears.
that's right. Down in New Jersey, they have signed. They put into law the Seinfeld-inspired law aimed at combating telemarketers. And they actually called it, the law is affectionately nicknamed the Seinfeld Bill in honor of the iconic episode where Jerry offers to call back a telemarketer. It's actually a very funny episode. And so now the law requires telemarketers to state their name and what they're selling within 30 seconds, along with whom they're representing and where to reach them. And the law also lays out consequences for telemarketers who lie and misrepresent information on sales calls. Now, how is this enforced?
No, it has to be enforced by people ratting out folks that break the law.
Are you going to be there on your watch saying, okay, it's been more than 30 seconds, I don't know your name, and I don't know the company that you're representing?
I have to tell you that I don't even give them 30 seconds. You realize that. When I pick up the phone and it is a recording, I have now trained myself to do what my parents never would have allowed, and that is just simply hang up.
Well, what if it's not a recording?
Then they will call back immediately.
that
And they
hasn't
will
been-
start the conversation off with, I'm not a robot, or something like
Will
that.
they say that? Wow.
A human being would.
Now, Ed's got the right thing. He's got the robocall blockage thing, right, Ed?
No, it's part of the Apple system. You know, the Apple.
Androids have got the same type of
right
system.
Yeah.
over here.
Sure. The
Yeah.
problem is that
Silence unknown callers. It's on.
they... Right.
Okay.
If it rings, I mean, if they call,
Yeah.
it doesn't ring. It goes to voicemail.
That's
Immediately.
Exactly.
And yeah, and most of the time, they don't leave a message.
Well, no, never. Even the ones that I know are, my potential spam pops up on the cell phone and I don't answer it. They just let it ring and ring and ring, and then it does go to voicemail. The message is never left. Or if they do, it's a recording, and all you get is the last, 3 seconds of what they've said, and all you hear is call, and then it ends.
Right.
Okay.
The big
Delete.
problem is that they should make it against the law to display a number that isn't yours. If that were a federal law, that making a
spoof.
telephone call and you send a number that's not yours, not the number you're calling from, if they send that number ahead for the caller ID, that's not against the law, Joe. And it should be by federal law. And if they just simply did that one little thing, then they would be breaking a federal law and people would be
But
disincentivized.
on some of my
to-
spam
to-
calls, I see the number that it's coming from. At least I think that's what it's
but
from.
it's not.
But it also tells me what town it's coming from, and I'll see Texas and California, but I also see Upton, Massachusetts.
401.
No, it's not
401
401 from Connecticut. No, it's not like that.
But Joe,
Yeah.
the numbers that it's showing you is not the
Is
telephone
incorrect.
number. And here's the deal. That started a long time ago because the number of telephone numbers you can block in your phone has a finite number. I mean, I don't know what that number is. It depends on the model of the phone. But it can only memorize a certain number of telephone numbers that you have told it are spam and you're not to even ring it. And you've always had that methodology that you could use in your phone. However, they know that they call using this telephone number. Then they'll add 2 numbers to it, and they'll call the next time with that other telephone number, and then they'll change but the number that they tell your phone they're calling from is a lie. If you had a federal law that made that a crime, then you'd have more criminals that you can stop from doing it.
A lot of problems, and this would apply even to if they did have this law. As last week, I got 2 calls from Greece and one from Peru.
Oh, boy.
So
Really? Did it come on your phone that said
came out
that?
of my phone as Greece, 2 of them in Peru, and and unfortunately is that I don't know if those numbers would qualify for this, but there are some overseas numbers, some islands or something that if you answer the phone, you are automatically charged like $15 or $20
Right.
or whatever it is for the connection.
Wow.
Even if you didn't want them, you made a mistake, picked it up. Fortunately, mine came up and said Greece. Well, it said Greece and Peru.
I don't know anyone there,
No,
so it has to be a wrong number. All right. Now, let's see. We got a few minutes to go before the end of the program. Hawaii is the healthiest state in the nation, according to a new study. And this is based on, the scores were based on a dozen categories that included air quality, obesity, and behavioral habits. So Hawaii comes in at the top, and this is funny, followed by Colorado. Even with all the marijuana that's going on in Colorado, they still come in second, healthiest. Must be all the skiing they do up in the Rockies.
No,
And
That has to do with how you ask the
High
survey
al-
questions.
High altitude.
the high altitude. Vermont comes in third. Utah comes in fourth. Anyone want to take a shot at the state that comes in last, the least healthiest state in the nation? I wouldn't have guessed this state.
Alabama.
It is not Alabama. Dave, give it a shot.
Me? Why?
Just once. Give us a state.
Just for the fun of it.
Just for the fun of it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We're not having fun yet.
California.
It is not California.
Okay.
I would have gone with West Virginia, but I'm closer. It's Kentucky.
Oh, really?
So there you go. Kentucky
Too much
comes in.
bourbon.
Too much alcohol being made.
Too much bourbon.
Is there ever
Well,
too
they
much
have more
bourbon?
than they can drink. That's why they exported
That's
it.
why they sent it to Massachusetts.
Right.
That's so true. All right, and that's the way it goes there. So don't go to Hawaii if you want to be healthy. It's all that pineapple, isn't it?
Breathe in that nice air from Kilauea.
From the volcanoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all those Canadian wildfires, we got all the smoke, and Hawaii didn't. So,
Yeah,
so that's why the air is healthier over there. Well, that makes perfect sense. All right, we've come to the end of the program. Thank you very much for listening, as always. Ed Carew, thanks for coming in today.
Always a pleasure.
All right, Dave, thanks for filling in for Linda.
You betcha. Can I uncross my legs now?
You certainly can if you,
All right.
if you really want to. Stay tuned, because coming up next, it is Lisa Cassafaro and the Blackstone Valley Prevention Coalition. It's next on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. CVS Pharmacy has reached a $6 million